did you guys put in for B?
So, for B, you put in 7.
Good, that's what B is.
We need A.
So we're looking at this expression now. For A, what do we get to, or what do we need to put in?
The, 1,
And then for C, what do we put in?
14.
Then hopefully some of you guys are going to your calculators. Negative 7 squared becomes?
49.
What does 4 times 1 times
56.
14 become? I heard it louder.
56.
56. When I subtract,
-7.
so what do we do with negative numbers? First of all, the discriminant is -7. Second of all, whenever the discriminant is negative, we say how many solutions are there?
No solution.
If it was 0, it would be 1. Everybody is about to lose their privilege for music, get it turned down. If you can hear it, when it's not in your ears, it's done. Rob, turn down your music.
Wrong.
I can still hear music.
Yes.
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 That's not what I was saying.
How? I can't even.
Okay, try putting it in your ears and let me see here. Now hold on.
No.
You're good, Rob. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Okay?
Are the poems put up to the chapter 5 tests or my chapter 6 tests?
Alright, kiddos, here we are. Numbers 13 through 15. This is a big idea for the final exam. Diego, let me check. 13 through 15.
Oh, I need 13.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Solve the equation using any method. Now, there are 3 different methods you could use. You could use factoring, you could use complete the square, or we could use quadratic formula. Alright, done. I need to count your spaces and catch up with us, because right now I'm literally doing homework, okay?
my.
So, on number 13, we technically have options, but kiddos, did anybody see that number 13? Hold on, quick, go back. Does it look at all like, let's see, number 7? How do we solve number 7? How do we solve number 7? Just read the directions for me.
Solve the equation by using square roots.
Use square roots. So how can we use square roots to help us with number 13? It's probably
So,
the easiest.
Square.
What you do?
But you have to add the 144 first.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Then we
then
have to
you
use
square
square.
root both
Square.
sides.
But what we have to be really careful that a lot of people make
Plus or
mistakes.
minus.
Plus or minus.
I forgot that.
Me too.
That's why I
It
don't.
happens, right?
Like I got the number right.
That is 12.
Is X
Yeah.
not just 12? Thank you, Diego. We do just have X alone, but we need plus or minus 12. That's probably what I get like a half, right, Johnny?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Now, number 14 is a struggle because is there only an X squared or is there an X in another spot?
X in another spot.
We can't use the square root idea.
So we use the
Yeah, you're about to lose
quadratic
your privilege. Come on, work out the root.
one.
So in order for us to go ahead and solve for this one, I'm just showing you guys the easiest way to go. I would have added the 8 to both sides. What's negative 8 plus 8?
I mean 0.
That's the whole reason we did that, right? To move the negative 8. We get the right side equal to 0. On the left side we have x squared minus 6x plus 8. And we can't put anything together because they're not like terms. However, what we could do, Johnny did it. What we could do is try to factor. Now kiddos, if you remember our table, we're trying to think factors of 8 that add to be negative 6.
Negative 2 and 4.
Negative 2 and negative 4 will become negative 2 and negative 4 will become negative 6, right? Negative 2 times negative 4 is 8, and negative 2 plus negative 4 is negative 6. So we could actually Like maybe get that 0 back. We can actually say if the last sign is positive, the signs are the same. And we have x minus 2 and x minus 4. Who remembers how to keep going? How do we solve this now? With 2 factors equal to 0. How do we solve it? Why am I going to write equals 0 twice?
Where did you get equal 0 from?
Because negative 8 plus 8.
Like, on my head, alright, but I did, plus 6 to both sides. 8 plus 6 is 30.
We would have also had to do minus x squared, and that just gets kind of messy.
I didn't have minus x squared.
So it couldn't have worked. Not legally.
I got it right.
Some sort of magic happened.
Boom.
Not good magic. That would be where the black one. Negative 8 plus 8 is 0. Angel, look. Negative 8 plus 8 is 0. Right here. Right, how am I going to do it? Okay, negative 8 plus 8 is 0. Guys, how do we solve? Take x minus 2 equals 0 and x minus 4 equals 0. Last but not least, we just have to add 2 to both sides. Add 4 to both sides. Okay. X equals 2 and x equals 4. Factoring is probably the easiest way to do it. Factoring is probably the easiest way to do it. Now we are going to work on factoring in our review. That's not until chapter 7. Our review for chapter 7. Number 15. To be honest, those numbers are gross. So since those numbers are gross, I think the best way for us to go is the
My
quadratic.
paper is illegal. Should I just like something earlier now? It'll equal.
So for number 15, we're going to go ahead and use x equals keep going. B squared minus
Square root.
Huh?
4AC over 2A.
2A.
Got it. So we need to go ahead and figure out who is A,
2
who is B,
minus 5
and who is C.
minus 13.
Okay. So with A and B and C, we got to plug each other. So then we have x equals, now here's a common mistake, we gotta be really careful. X equals negative who?
5.
Negative negative 5.
Oh yeah.
Plus or minus square. Now, here's another huge mistake people make. We need the negative 5 to be squared. A negative times a negative is a positive. A lot of people made that negative.
Minus 4.
Okay.
2.
What is the negative?
Over.
A negative times a negative is going to make a positive in the next step.
Okay.
So, I'm going to actually start there, Alan. So, negative negative 5 is a positive 5. Plus or minus square.
25 minus
25?
104. Is it minus?
It is going to be minus 104, but it's going to be minus negative 104.
At least I knew that.
Good job.
Good
8
job.
times 13 is 104. But minus a negative, what do we do with minus a negative?
You turn it into positive.
Yeah, we turn it into a positive. So it's going to be 25 plus 104.
So it was 104.
I'm going to end up with 5 plus or minus. Did anybody find the square root of 129? It's a nasty decimal.
11.
It's bigger than 11. 11.
Oh, 129. Oh, sorry.
What's the question?
Well, that's a good question.
Oh, it's in my binder.
Yeah, I'll try and do this. What's it again?
Square root of 129.
Square root. It's 11.
Chapter reviews on it. I don't know what chapter this is.
11.4.
Okay, so we're going to go into 11.4 and Now how do we find both of those answers? We do 5 plus 11.4.
Why is it?
All of them. Well, all of them.
5 plus 11.4 is 16.4. 16.4 divided by 4.
Well,
And what's 5 minus 11.4 divided by 4?
is
5 minus 11.4.
5 minus 11.4. 6.
Why are you guys doing this in your head?
Dude, why was it so hard?
Why do you guys make everything so
Subtract
hard?
5 by 11 and then add a 0.4. I think.
Yeah. So Angels, do 5 minus 11.4 and you have
5.
minus 11.4.
Oh, we got it.
I don't expect you guys to do decimals in your head. Divide by 4.
It's actually negative. Yeah. If I did 5, oh, you forgot the
2.14.
2.15? Okay, so we weren't even right.
Wait, what do you need negative 6.7? If it was
So it's negative 2.15?
No, it says it's positive 2.5.
Did you do the
math?
It's okay.
Because you said
5 minus 11.4 is
oh, you said divided. I didn't know you said
divided by 4 is negative 1.6.
Sorry,
There
guys.
we
You
go.
all were right.
There we go. Negative 1.60.
And you guys, will you write on 12 point? I don't think so. There's no way to.
Right.
What's 5 plus 11.4 divided by 4?
Oh, I did.
Alright, number 16 and 17.
Yeah.
Substitution or elimination. What did you guys do? Did you set each of these equal to each other, or did you add or subtract down?
I have no idea what I did.
Don't do it my way.
Why?
Y equals x squared minus 3x plus 4 minus y minus x minus 9. What I'm doing is I'm subtracting this whole equation from the top equation. I lined it up so the x terms are next to each other, the numbers are next to each other in the same column, and the y's are next to each other. Guys, what's y minus y?
Nothing.
Exactly, 0. What's x minus nothing? Go down. X squared minus nothing? What's negative 3x take away 1x?
Oh,
Close. Negative 3 take away 1.
just for it.
Negative 4. Think negative 3 plus negative 1. Negative 3 take away 1. Negative 3 plus, I know, the negatives are.
Oh, now you.
Negative 3 plus negative 1, negative 4. And then 4 minus 5, or sorry, minus 9 is negative 5. Now we still need to solve. If you guys like the quadratic formula, we can technically do it that way, or if you like factoring, we can do it that way as well. Technically in this one, just for sake of time, factoring would be the easiest. If we were trying to think of what numbers multiply to be negative 5 and add to be negative 4. What and what makes negative 5? 4 and 1?
Yes.
Not 4 and 1, 5 and 1, right?
Or that. Wait. Oh, right, yeah.
And in order to make it work, negative 5 plus 1 makes negative 4. So I'm going to go ahead and make this x minus 5
And then
plus 1. And then how do I finish?
x equals 5
Good, set each equal to 0, x equals positive 5, and negative 1. Last but not least, for number 17, let me show the other method. The other method is take one equation, set it equal to the other equation. What do I do with that 9? Am I allowed to leave them where it is?
Yes. Nope.
Nope, where do I take them?
You got to put him on the other side.
Yep, so I'm going to subtract. 0 equals 2x squared minus 4x minus 2. We have some options. Let's just practice quadratic formula one more time. Okay. So A is equal to maybe it's not pushing all the way to something going on, so we can go from here.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let's keep on.
That's all right.
Don't
X equals negative 8. Plus or minus. You guys keep on telling things.
Square.
Keep on telling things.
B negative 4 squared minus 4ac over 2a. 2
So I just kind of do it piece by piece. Remember, negative 4 is a positive 4.
plus minus
What's negative 4 times negative 4?
15
Positive 16. Careful. See? It's in parentheses. So
Plus
negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16.
and then plus 16. Okay.
We do minus, and 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times negative 2 is negative 16. So minus and negative 16, Johnny is right, it is going to be a plus. And then my denominator is going to be 2 times 2.
4. So 4 plus minus 6. 4.
Careful, that's 6.
And then 32.
Now, if anybody got this far and boxed it, I probably would have said it's okay. However, 32 can be split up to be the square root of 16 and the square root of 2. So there is a way to simplify this radical.
That was too easy.
Square root of 16, everybody, is 4. And you see how everybody has a 4? You could factor a 4 out of the numerator. 4 over 4 reduces. You just get a 1. Anything over 1 is a 2. That's the last one. Yes, but be careful.
Oh wait, this was number
Because if
7.
the answer is expected to be in simplest form, then the best answer, and I should say the right answer, would have only been the last. Substitution elimination.
So I did, remember when I solved it and I just made it so it would be elimination, and the actual otherwise kept it out.
That would probably, well, look at what's left. Is it something like 2 equals 2? Is that true?
So I had one of those at 0 and 0, it's true that this one, so it was 3x minus 2y equals 4.5 and negative 3x plus 2y equals 5, so it's 4.5 and 5 of those, so I put no solution. Is that right?
You can say inconsistent. That's all I'm saying. Alright, kiddos, are we doing the bonus or are we doing them? We're doing the bonus too? Alright. Last one is the bonus.
And then can I see all of them?
Oh, I think oh, for the on the bonus. Alright. Remember the bonus, we're supposed to break down the radicals, right? What can we break down 8 to be? What can we break down 8 to be? 4 and 2 sounds good. So I can do the square root of 4, square root of 2. How are we going to break down y to the 5th, guys? Yeah, there's a y squared and y to the 5th, but what else is there? Another y squared, and then what else did they keep on?
Another one.
You see how there's 5 total?
Yeah.
Y squared, and what? Am I scared of square root of 81 or is he okay? Try 81 square root, Angel. See a nice
That's
one?
nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, so I'm not scared of him. He's good.
Everybody's
Nice, a little bit.
Now what am I going to do with the x to the 6? How many pairs am I going to have?
Three.
Good.
Three.
Now what can I do with...
I thought you had to stay 81 side.
Huh?
I thought you break down 81.
Well, usually you do, we could break it down to 9 times 9, but since we know this number, and since we know this one, hey, let's just find it. For instance, what is the square root of 4?
2.
2. Square root of 2, I don't know. What's the square root of y squared?
Y.
Good. And the square root of y squared?
Y.
So I'm going to go ahead and do, I have a y, and then a root y, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how about the denominator? What's the square root of 81?
9.
See, I'm not scared of them. Okay.
Then X.
X, and then
X.
x, and then
X.
and all we gotta do is just write it all nice and pretty. So who's under the house in the numerator?
It's 2.
And
Y.
2's under the house, and so is y. But what's outside? Good. 2y squared gets to come out.
Wait, where did the 2 come?
Remember?
Oh, okay.
Those guys are outside the house, so they get to come out here. Yeah. And then in the denominator, I have 9, and how many x's?
X. 3.
X to the power of 3.
Oh my god. It's so easy to do.
You just gotta do it piece by piece. You guys get scared and overwhelmed. That's okay. If you have finished your corrections and need to staple them still,
Wait, I have a question.
you're watching stuff there. Alright. Because if you need a stapler, come on up and just grab it. If you're finished. I will still take it by the end of the day if you need one more time.
Oh, you go back up to like number 11.
You see it?
Yeah.
So this is the formula we have.
Let's do it. You don't put the test with right?
We had to get the A, B, C, and plug in and everything.
Let's do it, I have a question. Or two.
No.
Alright. You guys have the final review written down. Now we're all on the same page. So let's go ahead and, if you have your books in your lockers, go grab them quickly. If you don't, I'll pull up the book on the screen so you can see it for us to start our review if you have not yet already. I was doing correction.
Yes.
Sorry, you gotta wait a little bit, bud. Remember I went over all those yesterday. Dylan, let me get back up. I'm gonna freeze it so you can see it, okay? What question number is it, John?
I have a question on number 7 and 3.
Jordan, what's the first page of the review, Homer? Thanks, everybody. Technically, ask Jordan. Good job on the descriptions, kiddo.
I got a whole Bible correct.
Alright, so you guys should have your for those of you guys that are done with corrections,
I'm done.
The test on top?
you got it.
Yeah.
Corrections on top. Alright, this is where we're starting our chapter review. If you don't have a book, you can use this. I need you to get out homework paper. Maybe some of you guys do it in your notebook so that it doesn't get lost. That's a good idea. Caleb, come on out the front seat.
Thanks, man.
You can go ahead and move up one. Not necessarily, just your desk back. Halfway in between very end.
I'll do that.
So I'm just sending you guys Friday. Alright, we're going back to chapter 5 for our review. Some of you guys, I might be able to answer a few more questions for you. If you weren't able to be here for all of yesterday, you have more questions in general. But what numbers are you supposed to do on this page? 1 through 6 and then 9 through 11? Okay. So 1 through 6, skip these two, 9 through 11 is what you guys want to work on right now. This is page 285, I think, is that right?
Yeah.
285. Okay. 285. This is going back to the very beginning of the semester. Actually, Coach Trapp helped you guys out with 1 through 6, so hopefully you've seen it twice. You saw it from me and from him. This is what you're going to work on. I'm going to go ahead and quickly scroll around the room to see if I can answer any last-minute correction problems. You guys are going to get started, and then I'm going to try to answer questions you have on these problems. But right now I'm answering questions on the corrections really fast for those that don't snap. Put your hand up. Guys, work on 1 through 6, 9 through 11. Here we go. You can just show this and this and put the plus and minus on both. So just the last few.
I have no idea how to do this one was scrambled. Yeah, I was paying attention.
But when you were paying attention, you got good stuff done, right?
Yeah. Thank you.
Now that we're on the same page. Oh, you. The video's online for you to explain all the topics.
Oh, okay.
If you need it.
Okay, so can I please tomorrow?
For chapter 9, I was trying to get the corrections to give you those ones.
Can I
This is like a big homework. This is like 5 homeworks. Oh, thank you, Caleb. Ian is right on my desk. Get the corrections on the top, okay?
Okay.
Guys, for 1 through 6, you don't have to write a sentence explaining why you chose, but maybe just think through what would be easier. Elimination, substitution. My advice is probably not graphing. Graphing is one of the hardest ones.
So I was working on position factors issue. And then it was like plug in, so let's say I took it from the bottom and I got y equals
Got y by itself.
I got y by itself, right? And then it said
We need to put it into
but let's say I got numbers like y equals 5.
Okay.
Okay, and then let's say I had to plug it in, and it would be 8x.
Jordan and Tyler, are we focused?
It would put 8x plus 35 equals negative. It's not negative 5. It'd be 3 parentheses 5. 15. Just making sure because it said 35.
Right. Is anybody else stuck on number 3 at all? I'll look at number 3. They might not have gotten that far.
Yeah.
As you guys are looking at number 3, what are the ways that we can solve? We can use elimination. What's the other one called? The other big one? Substitution. Looking at, I'm just going to look at number 3 because someone had a question on it. You can ignore me if you're doing just fine. Or you can pay attention if you're like, no, maybe it would help to look at it. As you're looking at number 3, what would you guys think? Substitution or elimination?
I do substitution.
Yeah, I think substitution also. Remember substitution? Remember substitution? If you have something all by itself, like y, if you have something all by itself, like y, do you guys see how there's a y down here in this expression? And do you see how there's a y up here in this expression? We can take who y is and we can plug him in. We can take who y is and we can plug it in. This was called substitution. So we can say negative 8x plus 2 times who is
4x
exactly.
Is it y?
So we're plugging into this equation, see it? So
Yeah.
we're using him as our pattern. But instead of y, we plug in 4x plus 4. Yeah, now we solve. So what would you do first after plugging in?
With the negative 8.
No, minus 2 to both.
Or is it 8x?
Yeah, I would
Never mind.
I would probably distribute
Yeah,
the 2,
you
yeah.
distribute.
I thought
Yeah.
you were trying to get rid of the 2 first.
So then you get negative 8x plus 8x plus 8 equals 8.
See it? You agree?
Then you combine the 8.
Yeah, I can combine a negative 8x and a positive 8x. What happens?
0. They cancel
Yeah,
out.
they do go
No.
away, don't they?
And then 8 equals 8.
Okay, now there were some weird answers back here. 8 equals 8, you have to say true or false. True or false, 8 equals 8.
True.
Remember what happens if it's true? It can either be one solution, x equals,
Infinite.
y equals. Or it can be inconsistent, no solution, or it can be consistent, infinitely many.
Infinite.
This is infinitely many. If it was false, we would say none. If it was false, we would say none. If it was false, we'd say none. But it's true, so we say infinitely many. Any questions about how I plugged in? Do you guys understand?
Yeah.
Y was by itself, so I was like, hey, sweet, let's plug in who he is. Can you read to me?
Yeah, 1/2
Okay.
x plus y equals negative 6.
What's the other one?
Y equals 3/5 x plus 5.
What do you guys think? Elimination, add or subtract down, or substitution? I think so too, because y is by itself. You see it? So since y is by itself, say in this y spot is going to go who this y is. So I'm going to plug this guy in. The the y is by itself, so I'm gonna say, hey, he's 3/5 x plus 5, let's put him in. So I'm gonna get this equation to form my pattern. Is that Alan or Jay?
I literally didn't touch the music.
Why?
I've heard it for a while now. I'm just gonna-
Yeah.
Take it away. The fourth bar.
We got
Less
it.
than halfway.
Go down to 2.
As long as you can. No, I'm good. Okay. And some songs are louder than others, right? We know that. Some are louder. Guys, what needs to go in the parentheses? Angel, what needs to go in the parentheses?
It's gonna be like 1/2 x plus 3/5
Good,
x.
good, good, good. We gotta put that in, right? This one's a little weird, guys. How do we distribute? There's nothing in front of the parentheses.
Wait a minute. Just
What is understood in
Uno.
There's a 1. Diego, come sit next to Diego. There's a 1 in front, so what do I do with the 1?
You just remember.
So I can say 1/2 x. 1 times anything is itself, right? Okay. 1 times 5 is 5. Negative 6.
And now,
What do you guys think you're doing?
subtract 5 from one side.
Yeah, I kind of want to, right? But 1/2 and 3/5 is gross. I could move the 5 if I want to do that first. That's what Johnny saw.
And so these are our final review. So it's here, like it's like a thing that is.
Multiple choice is usually what I like to do for finals, but to be honest, sometimes it's harder now. Does that mean that you can't have an answer that's right but looks different?
Isn't that gonna be like 11 over x?
Hold on. Well, to be honest, I don't think it's really not that complicated.
Yeah, that's gonna be 11 over 10x, right?
They have all these like
Yeah.
Alright, kiddos, listen up. Grab a seat. Sit, sit, sit.
Over 10x.
Sentate.
11 over 10x.
I'm finishing this last problem for those that were waiting. Now, listen. Tomorrow, I am going to see if you guys have any questions on the review thus far. Some of you might get really far in the review, and some of you might not get far at all. However, everyone needs to have attempted, I would say by tomorrow, the rest of chapter 5, so that we can go over questions on chapter 5. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. So once we have x equals, all we have to do is go find y by plugging in. Finish chapter 5 at least. If you can go a little further, that's good as well. Those of you guys that have tutors, or if you don't, maybe you should get one. Those of you guys that have tutors, work on the review with them.
Is that homework?
All right, cool kids, work on chapter 5. Have chapter 5
It's
done,
not
maybe
homework,
even
right?
chapter 6.
Just work
No,
on
it's due. It's worth like 5 minutes at the end, but it's just work on chapter 5 and maybe 6.
So you're Alan?
There's different chapters, right?
Do I have to do this again? Didn't we already do this?
We're working on chapter reviews every test. Remember?
Oh.
So we're doing a chapter test, just to give us new help.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys get that okay? It's really easy to make mistakes with negatives and positives, you know? So let's make sure we wrote it right.